Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review for Maleficent.
Once upon a dream.
So, I have been so excited to see Maleficent from the very first trailer I saw, and I was even more excited when I saw that trailer that debuted at the Grammy Awards that also debuted the Lana Del Rey interpretation of Once Upon a Dream. Unfortunately, I left the theater a little bit disappointed. So, Maleficent. The trailers depicted the movie very well, in my opinion. Some of the trailers, including that very first one that got me excited, the one at the Grammys, they depicted a very dark tale and showed that it was the villain's movie and that Maleficent was a dark character. Then some of the other trailers depicted a very fun, light, family-friendly type of film. Unfortunately, this kind of tonal identity crisis carries itself over into the movie. It can't decide whether it wants to push the envelope and be dark, or if it wants to stay in that very family-friendly territory. Ultimately, I do think it stays in the family-friendly territory and doesn't really capitalize on the darkness that it could have. I'm going to start, though, with the positives and the things I actually really enjoyed about the film. First is the acting cast. Angelina Jolie was perfect for the role of Maleficent. I don't think there's anybody who could have created a better live-action Maleficent than what Angelina Jolie put on the screen. She added layers to the character. She was able to depict everything in the writing and every different type of emotion or feeling, or even drag out emotions that weren't put into the writing. And she really added some depth to this character, more so than even I thought she would from the trailers. So Angelina Jolie was amazing, and she really brought the character to life. But outside of her, the other actors actually did a very good job. Charlton Copley, I think is how you say his name, did really great as the king. I mean, he was fantastic. He brought, again, depth into this character and really created a rich character. I thought Sam Riley as Dialto was really strong as well, when he was human at least. Didn't do much acting as like the Crow and such. Elle Fanning was good. She was probably, for the acting cast, the biggest letdown for me out of the main cast. Because, I don't know, she was good, she was serviceable, she passed as Aurora, she looked nice. She just was nothing really fantastic, and again, her character was the most boring out of all of them, which is good. I mean, the focus should be on Maleficent and not on the princess for this film, but it didn't really have much depth. Princess Aurora didn't really go anywhere in the film for me. Didn't have much characteristics. And then the three fairies also, but overall the acting was really great, and it really convinced me of these characters in this fairy tale setting. The other huge positive is the visual. I mean, it's visually stunning. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous to look at. It has the same sort of visual palette as Oz the Great and Powerful. Really reminded me of that. And even if you don't enjoy or you have your problems with Alice in Wonderland and Oz the Great and Powerful, they're both gorgeous, and Maleficent follows suit in this live-action fairy tale remakes. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And for that reason alone, I think it should be experienced in the theaters just because the visuals are that great. The final thing I did enjoy about the film is that it was an original story. They could have easily gone the route of retelling the Sleeping Beauty's tale that we are all really familiar with, but now, what has Maleficent been doing over here while we've been focusing on, Prince Philip? But they did not do that, and I really appreciated that they decided to retake the whole Sleeping Beauty story. I know that might upset some people, but that was actually a huge positive for me. We were painted a totally different picture of Maleficent. We were given this character who was just... She was there, definitely, in Sleeping Beauty, but was never fully developed and was just kind of a one-faced evil villain in the original cartoon, was given a backstory, given a purpose, given characteristics, and I really enjoyed that they decided to not just give us the same story regurgitated from a different point of view. Now, on to the negatives. Unfortunately, I think that it chose the wrong tone to stick with. We were promised a villain movie. a villain's tale from that perspective. And while it's understandable that if you're going to have the villain be the main character of the film, they need some sort of redeeming qualities, because people don't want to root for bad or evil. They want to root for the good guys, so the villain's going to have some sort of redeeming qualities. I think they stripped Maleficent a lot of the villain, unfortunately, and I won't go too into that without spoilers, but I wish they would have even in the acting, let Angelina Jolie stay in her sinister, dark, villainess role more throughout the film. We see it in the trailers, and this was actually, I think, the best scene out of the entire movie. We saw bits and pieces of it in the trailers, and it is when Maleficent comes, the christening, and curses Princess Aurora. It was by far, for me, the best scene of the film, and that's where Angelina Jolie really, really shined, is being that head evil mistress of this fairy tale land. But the film really chose a much more family-friendly arena, and that's why I had that PG rating. I knew I was a little wary when I saw PG, was hoping maybe it pushed to PG-13 with a little bit darker imagery. Stayed in PG, very family-friendly, had a very light tone for the majority of the film, and I think that hurt the film. We were told we were giving that villain story a new perspective and something different, and ultimately, it really wasn't all that different for me from what we already received, so a bit of a letdown tonally. Also, one big thing that took me out of the movie a lot was the editing. I thought the editing on this film was very weird, very awkward. Some scenes in there were so minor and so unnecessary that I think they should have been cut. The film was only about an hour and a half, so it's, you don't want to cut too much out of it, or we won't have a movie. But some of the stuff, I think that's the problem, is there wasn't enough story. There wasn't enough story through the whole middle act to really sustain, so they had to add in just random filler stuff, and just got a little hoaxy and too cutesy for its own good, and I didn't like the editing choices of what they chose to leave in a lot of the times. And in favor, actually, they could have drawn out some of the more fantastical scenes, or some of the more pretty scenes, or let Angelina have more of that time to develop the sinister part of Maleficent. Instead, they chose to go with this kind of real cutesy stuff, and it didn't really work for me. Also, they lingered on some scenes too long that didn't necessarily need to be lingered on, and it kind of just got awkward, and I was like, oh, really? Can we move on from this a little bit? And there was a lot of jumping, a lot of jumps with no transition, just jumping from, we're in the storyline, to a random scene that probably should have been an outtake, back into the storyline, just jumping, no transition, no type of direction, and I think it really hurt the pacing of the film, and the storytelling of the film, that the editing was just so all over the place. Of a tone, and the editing was very awkwardly done. So, overall, I will say the film was a little bit of a disappointment for me. I would still recommend it, especially just for the visuals. As I said, it's a theater experience, and Angelina Jolie does a great job to bring this character to life. So, check it out, especially if you have a family. It's definitely worth taking your family to. I think they'll really enjoy it. I did go with 4 female friends of mine, and they all seem to really enjoy it, especially enjoy it a lot more than I did. So that should tell you, 4 out of 5 say go see Maleficent for sure, and I say go see it as well. Just if you're planning on seeing a villain's tale, a darker tone, a take on an old classic, you maybe wait until it comes out on DVD, because I think you'll be disappointed like I was. But thank you all. Love you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.